Resource Recovery approached NBC and asked if they could tie into our sewer system because they were having some issues with the current tie-in with the city of Cranston. We met with them and basically signed an agreement saying that we would take their flows. We'd be willing to take their flows, provided that DEM would approve us taking their flows, and that they would retreat their wastewater to any level that we would prescribe in order to meet our limits, which they agreed to do. We then had to update the facilities plan to include the flows from Resource Recovery. And we also had to update another facilities plan that we had done for our treatment plant, because we had a limit for nitrogen that was just imposed by DEM. In fact, we're now constructing nitrogen removal facilities at the plant. And we had to demonstrate to DEM that we could accept all the flows proposed by the town of Johnston 20 years into the future, plus the flows from Resource Recovery leachate system. We just completed that last month. We submitted that to DEM, and actually there's going to be a hearing on that tomorrow night. So we'll have both hearings done. Once those hearings are complete and the public hearing record closes, which will be the first week of September, we'll then have completed the facilities planning process, and it will be up to DEM to approve actually both facilities plans in order for Johnston to tie into additional flows into our system. They have also advertised, DEM that is, for a FONSI for this project, saying finding no significant environmental impact, and I believe that expires. That notice is until September 12th, I believe. And if they receive no comments on that, then they will approve the facilities project. So I guess the answer to your question is the town that initiated really us doing the facilities plan so they could expand their sewer system. And just for your information, the facilities plan basically looks at the town over a 20-year planning period and essentially provides for expanding the sewers throughout the town, the entire town, where future development could occur. I mean, we're not going to provide sewers in state parks, areas that are not likely to be developed. And when those sewers would be installed, we have broken out in 5-year increments, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, what we think may be the course of the sewers being expanded. However, a lot of that depends on whether or not bond issues are approved by the voters for specific areas. But just because we put a certain section of the town, let's say in the 0 to 5-year plan, or the 10 to 20-year plan, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're constrained to that time period. If there's someone who wants to put in sewers sooner, I mean, they can do so. We're just indicating when we think most likely would occur. But the town is not constrained on that.
Well, if I mean, what we did, we moved some times around, some dates around, because we're looking at 295, right near 295, there's 110 acres there. From what I understand, and I don't want to start any rumors, there are a couple of people looking to purchase that land, to develop that property, obviously for commercial. So we did move things around where we feel that we can get the most bang for our buck, so to speak, by using that for shade. And I think it's important when you look at that area, that's an important area to develop, as well as Plainfield Pike. Plainfield Pike, if you go up Plainfield Pike heading west, on the left is Cranston, there's all businesses. On the right is Johnston, there's all farmland that's shut down. They don't farm it anymore. So there's just no sewer lines. From what I understand, Cranston, I guess, has been a settlement town going back 30 years because of the sewer line they put in. I guess the town never really, the town said they were going to kick in and never did, but that's politics of the past, and that happened years ago. But we looked at, obviously, Hartford Avenue, heading west, where that 110 acres is. And we also looked at Plainfield Pike, because that's what I want to see developed. The next phase is, so that's one of the reasons why this was in. NBC was very, very helpful, very patient with us. I appreciate that. But they really went to the mat for us.
So the next thing really is for DEM to approve everything, and once they do, and I think the facilities plan is what you have to have the facilities plan approved before you can install these sewers. So this really is the first step in the process of putting in new sewers throughout the town. So once we get this done, then I think the question was, when can we start? You had asked that question. Well, dry weather flows. But when it rains, there is an awful lot of flow getting into the system that should not be there, which actually overwhelms our system, or actually overwhelms our interceptors in Johnson. So what we will be required to do is to address inflow into the system, which basically comes from sump pumps and downspouts that are tied into our sewers, your sewers and then our sewers. And I think there are other areas in the town that experience problems in wet weather. And that's because there's all this flow going on, and this system was never designed for it. It just can't handle that much flow when it rains. So what we're going to wind up doing, and I'm not sure when the timetable is going to be, but it's probably going to be starting soon. We're going to start trying to take this flow out of the sewers, and that would be the stormwater flow, and direct it away from the sewers. So we'll have to work with the town on that, but it is an issue that's taking up capacity that could be available for actually sanitary flow, which the sewer really is designed for. So we'll have to address that.
There'll be a lot of angry constituents that are legally, so to speak, I don't want to say illegally, but maybe inadvertently pumping into the sewers.
Around one time.